Hey everybody, welcome to the Vine&Al Podcast. I'm Vince,
And I'm Al.
and we're going to give you guys a quick breakdown of our predictions for Stranger Things Season 2. Season 2 comes out, well, today. This is pre-recorded, but we're going to be uploading on Friday, which is today. So I know that I'm pumped to watch Season 2. I know Al is, and I'm sure a lot of you are really pumped to watch Season 2 as well. Season 1 caught on like wildfire. Everyone knew what Stranger Things was. It kind of put Netflix even more so on the map than where it was before. And it's an exciting time.
It definitely is really exciting. And me, for obviously, if you guys are new to this channel, you're listening to this, this is your first time listening to it, a little advertisement for our channel. You guys are listening to this, you like what you hear, you like the potential in this podcast in and of itself, and possibly even in other previous podcasts. It would make our day if you just took a little time of your day and hit that subscribe button and possibly even checked out some of our other podcasts. But for me, obviously, you guys have been part of our journey, been part of our family in season 1 of our podcast channel, not the Stranger Things. Vince is more of the TV movie guy, me more of the sports guy, but I loved this TV series, Vince. It was just so awesome. I kind of caught on to it late. I've always heard people talk about it, and I was just like, oh, Stranger Things, blah, blah, blah. But actually a couple of weeks ago, even, I jumped on the Stranger Things hype train. I sat down, looked up good TV shows on Netflix, and I saw Stranger Things. I was like, yeah, I got to give it a try. And episode 1 was good. I was like, okay, this is going to be good. By episode 3 or 4, I was hooked, and I finished that entire series in a weekend. So I'm definitely excited about this season 2 that's coming out, and I hope you guys are too. And I'm sure you guys, some of you who are listening to this, have already watched some of the episodes, which I'm really excited for them to come out.
One thing that I think really grasped me as an audience member when it came to this show was a lot of the characters. Where we might mention occasional spoilers, so tread carefully, I guess. We won't try to bring up major spoilers of season 1, but in order to progress the story, we might have to bring up a few. But we're assuming that you've seen Stranger Things season 1. But we'll try to keep this fairly spoiler free, but you've been warned. But with a lot of stuff from season 1, these characters are absolutely great. My favorite character is Hopper, which is, the town sheriff. I just thought he was a really interesting character. I like that he went into depth. Well, not into depth too much. There wasn't like flashbacks, but I love when he talked about his daughter, and that's why he was so adamant about finding Will. In general, the world building was really cool. It made you feel like it was like the 80s, and it felt like a really long movie. And if it was a movie, I think it would be one of those cult classics that people will visit time and time again because the story is so rich. And that's why we're going to, make some predictions for season 2 because this can go a lot of different ways. So, Al, do you have any predictions that you want to throw out there?
Well, like I said, we're assuming a lot of things. Another thing that Vince and I are assuming is that you guys have watched the trailers. If not, you've already started to watch season 2. So, like I said, it's basically straightforward. You're gonna see things that are in that trailer, but obviously you can't fit everything into a trailer, and they're gonna turn some things. They're gonna take some things. First of all, I just loved how it had that Halloween theme, and I loved how that trailer had the Michael Jackson Thriller in the background. I just thought it was perfect, especially fitting with the 1980s theme. But a couple predictions for me. So obviously in season 1, the gang, is what I call them, they were able to get rid of the Demogorgon, presumably. We don't know if it's going to come back. Who knows? But obviously, if you saw episode 1, one of the first scenes was the boys playing the board game that they made up. And in that board game, the Demogorgon came. And that kind of previewed and set the tone for the rest of the series. So at the end of season one of the last scenes of the season, the boys are once again playing that board game. So what do you think? You got to pay attention to that. Maybe it gives some previews or some Easter eggs, perhaps, to season 2. And the tetrahedra, whatever, kind of forgot its name, is the next monster the boys have to face. And obviously, we see in that trailer that in that storm, which is really cool, there is that big monster. And one more prediction that I have, and I'll have Vince give some of his thoughts. The Demogorgon came, it's in this kind of like this, obviously it's called the Upside Down, it's a completely different dimension, which I think was really cool. But it had like those white spores all over the place, and it was just gross. You know what I'm saying? If you get, obviously you watch it, you know what the Upside Down looks like. But what I saw in this trailer is this tetrahedra or whatever, this next monster that the boys, the gang, they're going to face. It's coming in like a storm, like with red lightning and all those things. And I'm thinking that perhaps it's just it's a completely different dimension. Who knows?
Ooh.
The reason why I think this, obviously, is the difference of how it looks. But also, if you recall, I forgot the science teacher's name. I forgot his name, but I hope you know what I'm talking about.
I do.
The teacher that the three boys look up to, when he had the flea, when he gave that comparison to the flea and the tightrope, and how the person can only stand on the tightrope in one way, but the flea can go around it, I feel like there's going to be multiple dimensions, because that flea can go around it and around it. And obviously the flea is 11 and so. But maybe, that's why I think there are other dimensions. What do you think, Vince?
Well, one thing I wanted to note, how you mentioned, pay attention to the board game. That's not an accident. They put those little nuggets of flavor in there for a reason. And you're not wrong with that at all. Everything a director does behind the camera, they have to set up a scene, set up a shot. Even with lighting, everything is all symbolic, and it's done for a reason. Nothing is done on accident. I mean, it's all done on purpose. So yeah, those are key things, and they're definitely hinting at what's to come. You mentioned how there's different dimensions, right? Like maybe, that's just a prediction.
Yeah, possibly.
One thing I was thinking of is we both know that at the end, once again, kind of a major spoiler here. At the end of season 1, 11 sacrifices herself to kill a Demogorgon. But yet, at the end, even more so towards the end of season 1, you also see that there's a box of Eggos that are left in the woods, and then we see in the trailer that 11's alive and she's eating them. How do you think she came back?
Obviously it's 11. She just does things that no one else can do, obviously. I personally believe, and like I said, I don't really know what happened. One of the final scenes in that episode, or in the final episode of season 1, 11 and the Demogorgon disappeared. And maybe she's dead. Obviously she's not now. We know that for a fact. So that she's alive, is the Demogorgon also alive? That's a question that I don't know. Perhaps it's dead, I don't know. But 11 also has the ability to go to different dimensions. And maybe she's able to find one of those, what do they call it? I think they call it, don't they call it like a gate or something?
I'm actually not too sure.
But anyway, she finds a way to get back. Just knowing 11, I have no idea. Maybe she has to do something that can maybe alter the rest of the season, if not seasons to come, who really knows? All we can really base our predictions and our thoughts are these two trailers that Netflix came out with. So I have no idea.
All right. Yeah, I mean, like you said, 11 is 11. There's still so much unexplained about that, and I'm kind of glad she's still alive because there's so much I want to know more about her. Another thing you mentioned is this whole theme of Halloween. Throughout literature in general, Halloween is a season of many masks, and with masks, that means it like someone might not be acting the way they think they actually are, or appear to be. And I was reading into something, and it was saying how, the fact that they're playing on this theme of Halloween so much, I don't think it's a coincidence that it's releasing around Halloween time and it's kind of a spooky TV show, so here you go. No, like I said, everything's done for a reason, and there has to be more of a symbolic reason as to why this is taking place so predominantly when it does. The boys are dressed up in Ghostbuster outfits. Well, yeah, because they're going to take down whatever else comes from the upside down or another dimension. But why do you, and most of my predictions I'm asking you about because I watched this show about a year ago. All these concepts are really fresh in your mind, and I think for the listeners, I think it's better for them to get your opinion. Why do you think they're so heavily focusing on Halloween? Do you think it's just a coincidence because it's a spooky show, or do you think that there's more to it than that?
First of all, I have to give credit, to the Duffer brothers. I think that's their name. The two directors. They did a phenomenal job in season 1. And like you said, everything happens for a reason. These guys thought everything out. One of the key reasons why people love this series and love this series so much is that obviously it's so rich. It's kind of a fresh series, but it also kind of brings people back to the 1980s nostalgia. And these guys had to do their homework in order to replicate it. Obviously, I didn't grow up in the 80s, but I think they did a phenomenal job. They replicated to the best of their abilities. And they had, all their characters read up on and watch, scary movies and thrillers from the 80s, to pick up on those things. And the Duffer Brothers, they, like I said, they really did their homework. And the reason why, these guys, they waited a full year to come out with season 2, obviously to gain hype, to gain an audience. But maybe they could have waited 2 more weeks and put it halfway through November. No, I think they're airing this season 2 on the 27th for a reason, because this is Halloween. And like I said, they waited a whole year for this moment, so that it has to have some correlation. And one more thing, I'm not sure if you recall with the Demogorgon, in the last episode or episode 7 or something, when Hopper and the mom, I forgot her name, they were in the Upside Down. They saw an egg, or at least I saw an egg, and they kind of brushed it past. They kind of showed it for a couple seconds, and they went by, and Hopper nor the mother even talked about it. But it definitely was an Easter egg, no pun intended, for the upcoming season or seasons. Maybe they're incubating, and maybe there's more Demogorgons coming, maybe there's more Tetrahedrons coming, maybe there's more different kinds of monsters coming. Once again, going back to the trailer for season 2, they're in a pumpkin patch. And yeah, maybe it is a pumpkin patch, but maybe they're not pumpkins at all in their eggs. I have no idea.
Fancy.
I really have no idea. And one more thing is they're adding new characters, and I like that. Vince, with them going into deeper, adding more characters and doing all those things and kind of almost setting themselves up for future seasons, do you think, obviously we're doing a preview on season 2, but do you think they'll be going into seasons 3 and 4?
I definitely do. You have to strike while the iron's hot, and if there's a demand for something, I don't think they're just gonna give him the hand and say, "Sorry, our story's done." Yet at the end of the day, filmmaking or for a show in Netflix, it's all a business. And I definitely think that this will have backing for future seasons. And you and I have commented how the story here is so rich. I still don't think they can explain everything from season one in one and then this next season. And while they're still trying to explain stuff from season one, they'll also be trying to explain new concepts introduced from season two. So yeah, there'll definitely be more seasons. I've kind of asked you a couple questions, and now I'm gonna maybe state some theories I have, and I'm curious to see what you think of them. So,
I am. I'm excited to hear them.
all right, cool. Well, I've mentioned before how Hopper's my favorite character. I thought the stuff with his daughter was really sad. They said that she died of cancer, but we don't know that for certain. I feel like that was such a. Don't get me wrong, cancer sucks. Cancer's horrible. Hearts and prayers go out to all those who are suffered by it. But I feel like saying she died of cancer was a cheap way to say, to not give it much of a story. The reason I'm bringing this up is because, oh my gosh, what's his name? Oh, I know his name. It's something Harbor. David Harbor. He was in an interview, and this is what he said. Hopper's daughter will be the primary focus of season two, but not in the way you would expect. Hopper's understanding of that relationship and understanding of being a father grows deeper. We get a lot of time to explore that, and I don't want to tell you why because there's a lot of good stuff to come. With that being said, that they're going to focus on his daughter, I was talking to a friend a while ago, and they said, well, what if 11 was Hopper's daughter, and he just didn't know it?
That crazy thing is that originally in the like the newer episodes, or I'm sorry, like the beginning episodes of season one, those were my thoughts. I always thought 11 was Hopper's daughter. I always thought that, because he was always in the beginning episodes. They were always talking about, "I'm sorry about your daughter." We never really knew the backstory until further episodes in season one. And obviously with 11, breaking out of Hawkins laboratories, maybe I thought she disappeared and she got kidnapped by Hawkins. I didn't know. But obviously with the mother, you recall the mother who went crazy. As much as I want 11 to be Hopper's daughter, I just don't think it is. But with him saying that his daughter is going to have a role in season two, but not in the way we think, that brings so many theories into my head, and I can't really even pinpoint one. One of them, maybe she became a monster. Who really knows? Maybe she didn't die of cancer. Maybe she died due to Hawkins labs. Whatever. I don't really know. But I do like how Hopper originally was like the boys, but Hopper kind of became the main character of this series.
Yeah.
So I think he's going to be once again a crucial part, and maybe even a more important part to the season two. So it definitely will have some ties with possibly his daughter.
Yeah, and right now I pulled up a picture of that pumpkin patch you were talking about, and right now I'm looking at a poster for the season two, and yeah, man, I mean, you weren't kidding. That pumpkin patch that Hopper's in, not only do the pumpkins look like eggs, similar to the eggs you mentioned that was seen in the Upside Down, it almost looks like the mouth of the Demogorgon, how it's all like sucked in.
Yeah.
And yeah, if there's like multiple Demogorgons, maybe the Demogorgon was a mom, a female, and she did have these eggs. Dude, that could be something really interesting. And it's a matter of, well, how they're gonna take out all these things. That's the thing. When they introduce a sequel, normally the sequel will propose new implications that are grander than the first. This has been seen in a lot of, movie sequels, let alone TV, second seasons. So this season's definitely going to be darker, and what way to make it be more darker, but to not only have I always forget its name, the something Hydra or Hedron or something, but to
Yeah.
also have, you know, like these little multiple Demogorgons. I mean, it's going to be interesting.
Then, I don't know how we're doing on time, but here are two more things I just can't believe I kind of went past them.
Yeah, we can squeeze in two more things.
Okay. Obviously, one of the main pictures for season 2, I'm not sure if it's called a picture or one of the pictures that Netflix came out for Stranger Things season 2 is obviously Hopper in the pumpkin patch, and it's just him by himself with a flashlight. Obviously, with him putting Eggos in that box for 11, I feel like Hopper knows something. And obviously, at the end of season 1, I think people really brushed past this, where I think it could have been Hawkins Laboratories, but it could have been a completely different group where he is, walking out of his, I think it might have been his police station, and you see guys like well dressed, and they put him into a black car and they drive away. I feel like there's something secret about Hopper that we might figure out and find out, because in this picture it's Hopper all by himself with a flashlight looking at these quote-unquote pumpkins that could have been eggs that me and Vince have talked about. So maybe he knows something, and I don't want to go into the details of what he knows, but maybe he does know something. Because I do want to talk about this other thing. At the end of season 1, once again I'm referring to season 1, Will coughs up, it appears as if it were love, and it scares him. I think it's the last scene, and you're like, okay, this definitely sets up a season 2. But he spits up a slug, and maybe he still has reminiscent parts of him in from the Upside Down. In the trailer for season 2, definitely concreted that idea, because all of a sudden they're in the arcade, and he starts getting flashes of possibly the Upside Down.
Yes,
but he starts seeing the Tetra. You know what we're talking about. But maybe he sees another dimension, like we talked about that earlier in this podcast. And then, obviously his mom starts going crazy, and later down in the trailer, what's happening to my son? What's happening to my son? He sees a doctor. All these things are happening to him. I don't know what's happening with Will. Maybe he's still part of the Upside Down. Maybe he's an incubator for the Demogorgon's eggs, because they saved him from his lair. Who really knows? But those are just two things I think we had to talk about. We kind of brushed past them, but I think those two things are crucial to the season 2.
Yeah, those are great points. And that final scene of season 1, when Will is coughing up that whatever that thing is in the sink, that like freaks the heck out of me. That was like some next level horror stuff. That was just creepy.
It really creepy.
Oh yeah. And I'm gonna ask you one last thing before we wrap up. The Tetra whatever. This thing is huge compared to the Demogorgon.
It is huge, yes.
Yeah, and if the world were to, if this were to get around the world that this thing, this big, was seen, it's the 80s, they have technology, they would be able to see this thing, and images would get out, that would, shock the world, and that would put the world in a very interesting place for season 3. Maybe they would get the military involved, it'll be interesting. So my question to you is, do you think that maybe only some of the core characters see this? Like, maybe, wouldn't that be interesting if only the 4 boys, or maybe just Will, can see this, and Will's trying to explain to everybody what's happening, what he sees, and then everybody else is oblivious to what's actually going on? Or do you think that everybody can see this carnage that this thing's about to unleash?
Here's definitely a deep, well, not a deep thought, but out of there thought. With predictions, you never know. You could be completely right. You could be really wrong.
Oh yeah.
But season 1 has been focused, and the only thing we have talked about is Hawkins, the city of Hawkins, and Hawkins Laboratory. But obviously, this takes place in the 80s, during the Cold War. This I think it's kind of an allusion to the Cold War and all those situations and whatever, in the secrecy of our government. And another thing that I was could there also be other places where there are other secret laboratories? Maybe we've been enclosed to Hawkins, but maybe this similar situations are happening elsewhere in the United States. Maybe it's Hawkins is in another realm. We don't really know. We didn't have any contact with other places besides Hawkins in season 1. So obviously with that huge tech or whatever we call it, it's humongous. And I feel like they were getting ready to prepare for a world war. Maybe we get for season 3 other characters. They've been. I know they're going to add some characters here in season 2. So I definitely think that you could be willing to be adding other characters, obviously, in season 3. Who really knows? I think we're going to be very surprised when we see this season 2. Vince and I are going to be doing a breakdown of what our predictions are right, if our predictions are wrong, what we liked, what we didn't like about season 2. We'll be coming with that after our in-between season break, our personal season. But who really knows? I think we're going to be really surprised, and I think we're going to enjoy it. And I think we're going to see some of our predictions come to life, and some just now look out.
Oh yeah, it's going to be exciting, and you'll hear from us really soon. As soon as Al and I both wrap up the season, we'll put out a video, like Al mentioned, just explaining our thoughts and kind of going to give you guys a review. Hey, thank you so much for listening to us. Means a lot to us. Like Al mentioned early on, if you do find this to be helpful, or if you're able to get some enjoyment out of this, please leave us a like, comment, or subscribe. We're a small channel, and we hope to get big eventually, and every little bit counts. If you leave a comment, we'll definitely respond. So yeah, once again, thank you so much for listening, and you'll hear from us real soon. Take care, guys.
See you guys in season 2 of Vine&Al Podcast. Bye.
See ya. Whenever the music wants to kick in. There we go.